Okay, that's... Yo, why do I got so much stuff in my basement? So we, yes we, don't have any friends. But that's not gonna stop us from talking about the dying art of Hangouts. Think back to when you were a little kid. You hadn't been crushed by the bleak reality of life yet. You make your first few homeboys, you don't think girls are absolutely evil just yet, and honestly, this whole socializing shit is pretty cool. But I want you to think back on how you actually made your first few friends. You probably met them in school or a sports league or some other like extracurricular activity that you did in school. I feel like it was easier to socialize back then because it was an environment that was conducive to socializing and it never felt like you really had to force anything, right? You can kind of just start talking to people through these shared spaces and it was just easy. Then once you made your friends, think about how you used to hang out with them. How did you spend time with your new friend that you made on the playground talking about Lego Ninjago or some shit? Well, you probably got dropped off at their house, not without shitting your pants, of course. Don't you kind of feel like whenever you went to their house, like, there was never really a plan? Maybe go outside, go bother the neighbor, and then he genuinely pulls out a shotgun and tries to kill all of you. Maybe play Manhunt outside, maybe play Mario Kart inside. Once you get into middle and high school, I feel like all of us kind of get a bit more freedom, and when you get to that point, you can just pull up on your homeboy whenever you want. But then, you graduate high school, and the crushing reality of life kind of starts to set in. Even in college, it's kind of hard to see people sometimes. And even when you do see people, you gotta text them like a couple days in advance just to even set up anything with them. I feel like in college, it's always doing a very specific activity, like eating out or, God forbid, studying in the library. We do not do work around here, okay? All we do is sit around, goon all day, and play on the game. Now, I'm currently in university, but past university and the people that I've talked to who've already graduated, it seems like you're lucky to see your friends even once a year. What really happened to just like hanging out? There's this time in your life when you're really young and you don't have a lot of responsibilities, if any, and you can kind of just hang out and do whatever. It never really feels like you're fighting for time. As a result, not only do you get to hang out with your friends a lot, it was always just about, oh, guys, like let's just go to the park and just kind of figure it out. Most of the time, there wasn't really a planned activity, and even if there was, it was still pretty spontaneous in nature. There weren't really any restrictions on what or how long you could stay out other than curfews and your mom beating the shit out of you because, you stayed out past 2 a.m. But most of the time in high school, it would literally just be as simple as this. Yo, bro, I'm outside your house. The fuck do you mean? Yeah, like, let's hang out. Well, what do you want to do? Do you want to just, like, sit in my car and just watch the sunset while we say absolutely nothing to each other? I'm in. There was no coordination or planning. You just kind of met up and let the plan happen. I remember back in high school, like, me and my friends would go to Buffalo Wild Wings, only the best restaurant in the world. And then we'd like randomly decide to just go to some random place. There was no plan, and that's really what I want to hone in on. Hangouts were spontaneous. To any of you that might be older, think about how much time and how much effort you have to put in just to be able to see your friends for like a couple hours. First of all, nowadays, you take an eternity to even decide the fucking date. Then once you finally figure that out, the date itself is like 3 months out. And what are y'all doing at this hangout, I may ask? Nothing cool. You're probably just gonna get dinner for 3 hours and then just leave. But it's not even the fact that activities are planned now and that's what makes it like inherently bad. I mean, there was obviously some planning to hangouts when you're younger too. It's the fact that as a result of losing that spontaneity in your hangouts with your friends, you kind of just stop making original experiences with them. Let's say you do go out to that dinner with your friends. What are y'all gonna talk about? Oh yeah, I know. Y'all are probably just gonna talk about all the cool shit y'all did when you were young and literally just entirely reminisce on the past. Hangouts are all about reminiscing on the past when you're older, and it feels like as I've gotten older, this has become more and more true. Now look, I'm not saying that it's bad to talk about the past. Of course, it's good to kind of reminisce on the good memories that you've had. There's a reason why they're good memories and why they've stayed with everyone in your friend group for so long. But I feel like there's this certain kind of catch-up culture that everyone seems to just have ingrained in their minds, and it's made us just completely unable to actually put an effort into hanging out with people and creating new and original experiences because, again, that just takes a lot of effort. And I don't blame people for thinking this way. A lot of us are pretty tired, and it's easier to just talk about the past. So what's new with you, man? I hate my job, I hate my partner, I hate my apartment, I hate my family, I hate my friends. I think I also hate your bitch ass. Oh, that's fire, dude. But when all your time spent together just consists of that, it kind of dulls the friendship. When you aren't making new memories or creating new experiences with your friends, what's really even the point of the friendship? To me, the way that you enrich a friendship and strengthen a bond is through going through different experiences with each other. When you remove that, you've effectively just turned your friendship into a therapy session every single time you hang out. And again, I need you all to understand it's completely fine, okay? I reminisce on the past all the time with my high school friends, but when it's every single time, it just kind of gets to a point, you know? Now, I'll be honest, and yeah, like, I'm really young, so I don't really know the full extent of this, but I feel like I've definitely felt this with my high school friends. It's all just about reminiscing rather than making new memories. We don't really do fun activities anymore, like, you know, playing soccer or terrorizing the neighbors or terrorizing the neighbor's wife, you know what I mean? Without going through that effort of kind of introducing some spontaneity into the friendship and into the friend group, it kind of just, I don't know, it kind of just dulls the friendship a little bit. And again, I understand why this is happening, okay? It's very obvious. As you get older, there's more responsibilities that stack up, like work, familial responsibilities, and just a lot of other things that introduce a lot more stress that make it really hard to actually hang out with friends, especially in a way that's similar to how you did when you were a kid, when you were just more spontaneous and you could kind of just hang out whenever. But even though I'm young, it kind of makes me a little sad thinking about all this. It's kind of upsetting to know that my friends and I, especially the ones from high school, will probably just end up slowly drifting away from each other. With each year, each time that we hang out, it's gonna be harder and harder to maintain conversation, I feel like, and you know, who knows, maybe we just drift apart and we don't talk anymore. As we get older, we barely may even see each other every few months, you know, and that makes me really sad. I feel like the reason why a lot of people now, even as they grow older, and they're like a lot older, the reason why most of their fond memories are from when they're really young is because they were more spontaneous. They didn't really care about the outcome, they didn't allocate time so efficiently and try to just maximize every second of their life. They kind of just lived life, and that created memories for them. And it makes me sad because it feels like everyone else kind of is thinking the same thing, but they're not acting on it. They're not making or planning things that are actually gonna give us new experiences and new memories. We're just kind of doing the same old bullshit and just talking about the same old bullshit when we could be actually experiencing new things. And honestly, I don't know, you know, it makes me a little bit upset. I just really hope I'm not alone in this. To be honest, I don't want this video to be upsetting. I want it to be something that brings you hope and goals for the future of, you know, all relationships and friendships or whatever that you have. Instead of just having boring dinners for 2 hours and talking about the same bullshit, maybe go skiing or go hiking or just go on some adventure, right? Just be a little bit more whimsical, man. When you reintroduce that whimsy and that spontaneity in your life, you'll find that you'll make so many more memories and you'll probably feel so much less isolated and lonely. So please, if there's anything you can take away from this, it's to never take your friends for granted. Go and do fun and whimsical things with them, like, you know, go start a D&D campaign with your friends. Go do some other shit, something else other than just doing the same bullshit, like just going out to dinner and talking about high school again, you know what I mean? And I feel like if you start doing that with your friends and you start initiating this, I think you'll be a lot more satisfied, and your friends, I think, will be a lot more satisfied.